This is a meeting of the quadruple A's, African Advocates Against AIDS. AAAA is a nonprofit organization aimed at decreasing the risk of human immunodeficiency virus, HIV, and acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, AIDS, in the African and the African American community.
And the major goal of it is to educate the African and African American community here in the U.S. because of the culture and language differences.
Founder Corrine Siltz knows about the virus all too well.
It doesn't matter who you are. You can be a president, doctor, or you and me.
Corrine grew up in Africa. Her father was a doctor and contracted AIDS while treating a patient in his African clinic. Both of Corrine's parents died of AIDS. Her father passed when she was just 13 years old. Her mother died when she was 17.
I was there through everything, all the symptoms, giving her bath, feeding her, and until she passed away. She passed away in my arm. She held my hand very tight.
It was at that very moment Corrine Siltz decided to spend the rest of her life educating the community about HIV and AIDS.
HIV can happen to anybody, no matter who you are, and people need to know how to protect themselves.
African Advocates Against AIDS does just that, teaches people how to protect themselves against the disease through workshops and training sessions. But AAAA does more than educate the community.
First of all, we're going to be there to listen.
Tanya Frazier sits on the executive board of African Advocates Against AIDS and serves as president of the board.
You'll get tested where they're going to set you up with your medicines. A lot of people do not have insurance in this community, so we have to work almost do case management for you and work with agencies that's going to help you get that service that you need. Or we'll take you somewhere and have you stay there until you're set up with some type of housing that's permanent for you. We're not going to let you go. We're going to stay with you until you get that help.
Such was the case for this lady who has the disease. Jean, who doesn't want her face shown and only wants to use her first name, has been living with AIDS for 16 years. She found out she had the disease when she became pregnant back in 1991.
Yeah, it was hard, but I don't know. I didn't know what to say, what to do.
To make matters worse, Jean began losing weight. Her husband left her. She was evicted from her apartment and lost all of her belongings, furniture and clothes, because she was just too sick to work. As a result, Jean could not pay the bills.
I didn't have a place to live, so I was waiting my apartment for 2 weeks. So I did not know where to go. To go spend again money in the hotel was too much expensive.
That's when AAAA stepped in and provided housing for Jean and her daughter. And the organization did not stop there. When Jean needed a way to her doctor's appointments, African Advocates Against AIDS was right there.
I didn't have a car, so she used to provide for me the transportation when I need the rides to go somewhere. So I call her and she can pick me up to give me a ride. You need to thank God first, and then you need to thank the people that did that, because they did not do that for themselves, but they did that for the love of God.
Jean is just one person in the African and African American community living with the hardship of AIDS. According to the Centers for Disease Control, HIV and AIDS have hit African Americans the hardest out of all ethnic groups. 49% of the people diagnosed with HIV and AIDS are black. Here's a breakdown of the numbers. African American men account for 41% of all HIV/AIDS cases. African American women make up 64% of HIV/AIDS cases. And sadly, black children make up 63% of HIV/AIDS cases. African Advocates Against AIDS is laboring to change those numbers.
This candle is like a unity. We starting this together. It's like an army reforming, because this disease is killing us. We need to fight back.
African Advocates Against AIDS provides many educational seminars throughout the year to help AIDS patients and to train citizens on how they can help fight the HIV virus and the AIDS disease. Former Peace Corps worker Kelly Gillian, who spent 3 years in Africa, attended one of African Advocates' seminars. Gillian says AIDS and HIV is in everyone's community, and we cannot ignore it.
People who are living with HIV and AIDS need to be supported, and then to make an environment that makes it easier for these people who are already living with HIV and AIDS to come out and say that they are. There's a very high prevalence rate in certain communities in the United States, and that includes the African American community and just low-income communities in general.
After listening to the presentation, Gillian has decided to volunteer her time with AAAA, even though she works a full-time job from 9 to 5.
Well, I definitely think that these organizations are few and far between, with people who are really, really motivated, like Karine.
I do this with a true heart. I did this work because I've been through it, and I feel this calm in my heart to educate our community about this disease because I live it.
But both Karine and Tanya say they cannot do it alone. They need more than one volunteer. They need more than just a handful of sponsors. They need more than a few board members.
We need people to get involved to help us educate this community. We can't do it alone. It's going to reach all the Africans living here with HIV, AIDS. It's going to help them get the services they need. It's going to educate them on prevention. So the more support that we have for this organization, the better it is for us to reach this entire community.
Help me carry out this vision in order for us to reduce the rate of HIV in our community.
You can help African Advocates Against AIDS with their mission by becoming a sponsor partner. Send donations to AAAA 1027 US 70 Highway East, Suite 104, Hartwell Plaza. That's in Garner, North Carolina, 27529. To learn more about AAAA, visit us online at www.africanadvocates.com or give us a call at 1-866-456-AIDS.